Welcome to Trojan Connects, Unlocking the Power of the Trojan Network. My name is Desiree Lantry, and I am the Director of Alumni Relations here at Annenberg. This event, along with one other in London, kicks off the Trojan Connects series of several events. So please, if you have not done so, make sure that you check out Fight Online to view and register additional Trojan Connects events. I know that they'll be helpful and they're different, and it's just a way for you guys to stay within your Trojan network. Before we dive into the program, I wanted to share that you have an amazing network. The depth of this network is such that we had 4 Trojans win the Super Bowl yesterday. Awesome. And our very own Annenberg alum, Sam Darnold, was the first quarterback from USC to be in a Super Bowl. So you have an amazing network. Congratulations. I want to do just a soft survey before we get started. 1 question survey, and we'll look at the results, and hopefully it will get us set up for who is in our Zoom. Here's the poll, and we'll view the results shortly. Oh, very active.
I'm watching like the bars go back and forth.
Right? Okay. I love the participation.
This is so cool.
This is going to serve as a guide for who's in the room and really our topics and what we touch on. So I'm so glad that you're able to share this with us. Let's give it just a few more seconds, and then we'll show the results of the poll and we'll get started. All right, let's see the results. Ooh, proud Trojan, nervous human leads the way. I understand that. I get it.
I feel like I fall in that bucket too sometimes.
I mean, it's pretty normal, right?
Right.
And then Fight On, I'm networking like a pro, comes in second.
Mm,
Awesome.
okay.
Waiting for someone else to say Fight On first. I get that. That's me in some scenarios. And then Vibes and Hope, just going in the room with Vibes and Hope. Be the party. And then last, watching like it's reality TV. I love that. For those who are not comfortable, we are going to help you get comfortable in this networking event. So I want to encourage our alumni to actively leverage the USC and Annenberg Alumni Network, share some practical real world advice that will be shared by both Heather and Pilar. And we're going to normalize anxiety. It is normal to be nervous and not know how to approach for help. And we are going to share some examples of how to do that, how to have these conversations, how to get comfortable, how to do follow-ups. Now, why are we here? Well, last year, our alumni advisory board, who both Heather and Pilar are part of, launched a survey to alumni who were 0 to 5 years removed. And what bubbled to the top from what they really found useful was networking, and they wanted more of it. And so there were different ways where they didn't have access. They didn't feel like they knew the approaches. And so that's how this event came about. So thank you to both Heather and Pilar who helped with that survey. And I just want to remind you, as I did before, that you are part of a big, awesome network. So you're not cold calling, you're calling home. This is always home. You will always have a home here at USC. So let's begin our introductions. Heather Rim. She's the Chief Marketing Officer at Optiv, mom of two teens, lifelong Girl Scout and Bon Jovi fan. I'm with that. USC Annenberg Alumni Advisory Board Chair, and the USC Annenberg Board of Counselors, USC Annenberg Center for PR member as well. Pilar Terry. She's the managing partner and COO of POV Agency. She loves horror movies, Mexican food, cooking, and building Lego. The Collective Identity Mentor and USC Annenberg Mentor. She's a USC Annenberg Alumni Board member, and she's the former Annenberg Seeing Me in the Media Executive in Residence, which is a mentorship program that is huge here at Annenberg and services so many. So I want to hand over the mic to these two so they can dive in and begin.
Right. Well, let's jump in. Desiree, should I just jump in with the first question that we had noted here?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to do the stats.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have those.
Oh, I can do the stats.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
happy to
That
do
would be
the stats.
great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are incredibly excited to have all of you here. Just to start with some networking stats, 85% of jobs are filled through networking via LinkedIn or other sites. 70% of jobs are never posted publicly, which means it's even more important to have a strong network so you can hear about jobs that, aren't on the open market. Maybe they're through like different connections. LinkedIn members with 5 or more connections at a company are 2 times more likely to get an interview. So LinkedIn is super important for helping to stay connected online, but we'll get into what that looks like connecting offline, which is equally as, if not more important. And USC has over 450,000 alumni globally. We are one of the most engaged networks in the country, and networking isn't just about schmoozing, it's about building real connections. And when 85% of jobs come from relationships, the Trojan family becomes one of the most powerful tools you'll have. And so Heather and I will get into how to use this tool in your toolkit. And with that, Desiree, I'll toss it over to you to ask us the very first question.
Absolutely, and thank you. Those are amazing stats. Oh my gosh. So let's get a little personal.
Yes.
Let's start with Heather. Please share a personal anecdote about how networking helped you in their career.
Sure. Gosh, it's helped me every step of the way. I think for those who are early in your career, joining organizations, especially for me, the American Marketing Association, the Public Relations Society of America, the International Association of Business Communicators, that is where I first really started to build my network. There was a ton of opportunity for me as an early career professional to be able to volunteer, to be able to even just help check people in at an event. All these little activities allowed me to add some action items to my resume that was pretty empty early on. So volunteering, I think, is really a terrific way to do that. And you're always bound to find Trojans in those organizations. We are servant leaders, and you find Trojans everywhere. So it's another entry point that I highly encourage people to take advantage of. How about you, Pilar?
Oh, okay. So I actually love that your examples from early in your career, because mine is from later in my career. It actually happened last year. In last January 2025, I was asked to speak on a panel about PR for female agency owners at their annual Own It Summit. And after I spoke, I was welcome to enjoy the rest of the conference, despite wanting to hide in the bathroom, which happens to me when it comes to networking. So I just want you guys to know that even though like I'm here teaching you guys about networking and like telling you what tools to use, I get nervous too, and I want to hide in the bathroom, and sometimes I do. So it's okay if you feel like that too. But despite wanting to go hide, I mingled with some attendees and I ended up scoring a retainer client. We actually helped them announce their acquisition by a major remote talent provider just like last week, and a new project consulting client. And because of the in-depth conversation I had during that networking opportunity about what the client needed, I was able to actually customize and build like a brand new offering for POV agency specifically for their business. And I would have never made these two awesome contacts if I stayed hiding in the bathroom. So, networking does help and can lead to new connections, new job opportunities, and new clients as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like it doesn't matter the timing of it. It could be early in the career, it could be later in your career, but keep networking is the message. Absolutely. Um, let's go to Heather for another question. What was your first Trojan family moment?
Gosh, I would say, and this might be a coincidence, but I'm not sure. My very first job post graduation, I was hired by an Annenberg alum. Several years later, I'm proud to say the CEO of our company is also an Annenberg alum. And I think there's something that is so powerful about that one little comment. Hey, I see you went to USC. Instantly connection. So I think, if all things are equal, that edge that you have by having something that's immediately relatable, that's tangible, is so powerful. And one little fun anecdote that someone shared with me early on. I always try to wear, you can see here, a little SC. I've got a whole collection of these pin. So, it's fun to have some simple way that someone can notice that you're a Trojan. It happens to me all the time, whether it's a pin or it's your coffee mug, just something that gets someone to say, "Hey, I'm a Trojan," or they walk by you, fight on. So definitely take advantage of those moments because they're really powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
Go
love
on.
your pin. I love your pin moment, Heather. For me, it's actually license plate holders. So I'll be driving down the 405 or the 101 or wherever, and if I see somebody with a USC license plate holder, I still have mine for Annenberg. Like, and I end up pulling up next to them in traffic. I will give them a fight on, and most of the time they're like, "What the fuck? What's happening?" But then, like, they actually get that, like, dude, I saw your license plate. Like, we have this connection. And I'm not advocating for like networking on the freeway, but I'm just saying you can find those kinds of connections anywhere. And for my first Trojan family moment, it's kind of similar to Heather's. The first job I got was through USC. It absolutely springboarded my entire career in PR and marketing. I was taking PR 101. I had no idea what PR was, and I was like, this sounds fun. It was taught by the late Howard Bragman, and he announced that he was looking for interns for his company. And of course, my hand shot up. Even though I had no idea of what they did, it just sounded interesting. I didn't know that he was a partner at one of the biggest entertainment PR agencies in LA. And that intern position, where I was doing very glamorous things like art projects for one of the VP's no, one of the VP's kids. I was cutting up like construction paper things for like Jewish day school, but I still learned a ton. And I ended up staying there for 5 years. And it started with an internship and it started at USC, just taking a class and raising my hand. And that started my 23 years in brand PR and marketing.
Um, amazing. Let's go to the next question. So, can you share ways to connect with other alums, that alums can connect with other alums?
Sure. Heather, do you mind if I start this one off?
Please, please.
Okay. For me, a best case scenario is that we actually meet in person at an Annenberg event. I love going to campus. I love the feeling of just like walking around and seeing everything new, kind of getting jealous because the campus looks amazing compared to when I went there 20,000 years ago. But the best case scenario is that we meet in person. And I love a good follow-up, even if it's months or weeks after the event. And if that's not possible, that we get to meet in person, LinkedIn or email is great. And I want to say, like, the platform or the method of reaching out is actually less important to me than the content of the ask. What exactly are you looking to discuss? Am I the right person for you to ask that? Because if not, I'd love to introduce you to the person who is the right person, but like come with like a specific need or want or like guidance in some specific area. So we're not just like sitting and staring at each other over Zoom for 15 minutes. Like, what do you want to talk about? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? Let's have some guidance there. Heather, what do you think?
I agree 1,000%. And I always try when I can to accept, requests for a coffee chat or, a quick, you know, discussion just to say hello. But exactly what you said, it's so powerful when it's with intention, when it's with specific purpose, so that you make the most of each other's time. Um, I also think that sometimes it can be very nerve-wracking to just reach out to an alum, even if you graduated from the same school. So I really encourage you to find a first degree connection that can broker the introduction for you. So there's nothing like someone saying, "Hey, Pilar, I know this incredible human being. I think it would be awesome for you to have a conversation with him." That goes such a long way. It also provides some context for the discussion too.
Mhm.
So please be sure to take advantage of the relationships that you have that are existing.
Mhm.
And the other piece that catches people's attention is through LinkedIn, through social platforms, pay attention to what the folks that you're interested in connecting with are saying and
Mhm.
reshare that to your network. So perhaps, Desiree posts an awesome article on LinkedIn that I find inspiring. I might share that out to my network with a pull quote from Desiree's piece, and I tag her. And what do you know? Maybe Desiree reaches out to me and says, "Hey, thanks so much for sharing that." And it sparks up a conversation that also works on, other platforms outside of LinkedIn. But I found that to be, even every time I see that I've been tagged in a post, and hopefully it's something positive. You want to, things could go sideways, but definitely I think people really appreciate that acknowledgement that you've read their piece and that it meant something to you and that you see enough value in it that you want to share it out with your network.
Wow. I mean, I think both of those approaches are amazing. Using LinkedIn as a tool, and you've added another layer of that tool, is great because I think that when somebody sees that you reacted to their post, you're memorable at that point, right?
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing. Let's move on to the next one. What's the wrong way to reach out or follow up? Laura, you want to start it off?
I do. And the word that comes to mind immediately, the wrong way to do it is aggressively in tone and in quality. Sorry, not in quality, in tone and in quantity. So I get being persistent. I get, being really excited about something. But if you are, kind of like forcing yourself into my inbox or following up, like, why haven't you responded yet? Or I sent this on this thing and I haven't heard from you. And coming with the idea that, like, I owe you time or the person that you're reaching out owes you time, it's really off-putting. I'll just be honest, it absolutely is. Another thing is to look out for is like reaching out the intent, with the request of like looking for me to provide you with an answer or a set plan or approach. Like I am not, as much as I would love to be like your fairy godmother or genie in a bottle and provide you with everything you need to live a career and life that's full of success, I can't do that. Honestly, I am still trying to figure it out myself. But the more that we chat conversationally, instead of you requesting like a list or a blueprint for something, I can be a better resource. And I can only speak for myself, but I think that other alumni would appreciate, like, hey, I'd love your thoughts on this. Or, hey, I have a question. This is how I think I want to approach something, but what do you think? Have you encountered this before? Is much better than like, hey, give me a job. Or, hey, I need to meet this person, like in a way that's just it's just cold. Um, I want to do my best to be a really great resource for you. And the way that we can do that, I think, is like to start a foundation of mutual connectivity and respect. So please don't be aggressive. Please don't. Heather, over to you.
Well, well said. And I have seen a lot of that. It is, it's unfortunate because I think somehow when we're engaging through online platforms, we forget that the same rules that would apply in a social setting in person should apply virtually as well. Even, how you might show up to that meet and greet Zoom call, like put some effort forward. Show that you're being really respectful of that individual's time. The other piece, and I don't know if the word's entitlement, I'm not sure,
I
but
think that's what it is.
right,
That's
it's
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like
yeah.
because I have access to you through
Mhm.
LinkedIn, I see your name. I'm going to send you a request and you should accept it because it's now in when I was early in my career, there was really no internet either. So it was a
There
lot
was
more
internet.
challenging. There was not internet. But now, it's there's this view that since I see you, I should be able to reach out and you should take my call or you should accept my request. I will tell you all that I get a lot of just sort of email requests and LinkedIn invitations with zero context. And the
Just
only
none.
connection, right? Like the
Mhm.
only connection I see is that we both went to USC. But please just make a little tiny effort. Even, following this event, if you'd like to connect, just say, hey, really enjoyed the conversation. Here's one thing that you said that really landed for me. And maybe it's this that I should, make an effort to include an anecdote in my outreach efforts. But that really goes a long way because I will tell you, I have a queue of invites that I have not accepted. And those that say something kind, something, or ask a question, make an effort, like, boom, happy to connect
Yep.
because of that respect and that appreciation of, what I can bring to the table and what I can gain
And
from information
time. Yeah,
and
and
time.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. The approach is imperative.
Mhm.
So to that point, what's the best outreach method?
Heather, I'll let you start this one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think just the opposite of what I just described. Really, I think finding a shared connection, finding something in common, reaching out again with specificity, like here's a way that I can add value, or even better, and you can do this at any stage of your career. Here's something I think you might find interesting, or here's
Yeah.
something that, Heather, I saw you talking about X. Here's an article I found. Have you read this? Thought this might be additive to the conversation. I would love the chance to talk to you more about this. So, adding as much sort of context and color you can around your outreach is really helpful because then it shows that you're reaching out with intention. You've done the homework. You've
Mhm.
made a little effort to get to know me and you want to continue the conversation in a meaningful, mutually beneficial way, that really is helpful. How about you, Pilar?
I completely agree. And I actually realized I have an anecdote. Unfortunately, it's not from a USC alum, but it is an excellent, excellent example of networking. This was through LinkedIn. In my LinkedIn profile, in my headline, I think I have hot sauce aficionado because I also love hot sauce. I didn't put that in my bio. It's not part of my intro, but like I freaking love hot sauce. I've got like 11 types in my kitchen right now. And this kid, and I call him a kid because I think he was like 17 or 18 when he reached out. His name is Zach Gladman. He reached out and he was like, hey, saw that you're a hot sauce aficionado in your LinkedIn headline. Can I send you some hot sauce? Also, can I schedule some time with you to talk about potentially marketing my hot sauce or like what I should look out for? I make this hot sauce with my dad. That was like 6 years ago, and Zach still sends me hot sauce. We are now friends on Instagram and LinkedIn. I have never met him before in person. He's in Europe right now studying at Oxford, but like I made a cool little friend who sends me free hot sauce, which I freaking love because he looked at my LinkedIn headline and was like, that's a thread I can pull, and he pulled it. And we are still in communication today. So I completely agree with you, Heather. Like find a shared connection and build upon that. Um, and it's a really natural way to initiate conversation. So I'm just putting this out there. Anybody else out here who loves Lego, I'm always down to talk about it. I'd rather talk about Lego than like my actual job. But that's just like a fun little way in. Who wants to talk about work all the time? Fucking nobody. Talk about some cool shit that's going on in your life, and that can be a shared connection, and you can build on career stuff from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. You both kind of touched on this next question, and I would say for everybody who's on Zoom right now, Don't approach with a million hot sauce questions and LinkedIn to Clara, please. Please. That's been done before. But you guys have both touched on this, but if there's any more you want to add as far as an approach on LinkedIn or email, that would be great because I think a lot of people really need help tweaking those.
I guess I'll start out this one. Like I said, LinkedIn or email is fine. And I'm going to repeat this, come to the conversation with some intention, whether you are requesting an informational interview or asking for guidance on a resume, or you're going through something and you just like need a sounding board. I'd love for you to come to me with that rather than I want to talk to you about your career. What do you mean? Like what part of it? Like the highs, the low, like I need more information so I could actually like set aside the time with you to address what you're looking to address. I do have my DMs and LinkedIn's and emails open to schedule office hours on Friday mornings. But again, please don't come to the office hours and just sit and stare at me and wait for me to like give you the answer to life because I can't because I'm still trying to figure it out. So come with intention. Heather, over to you.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think um, I would, this is maybe a little tactic, but just be really thoughtful about the subject line. Like don't bury the lead. There's a lot of emails that come through, quick connect or, let's touch base. And in my world, a lot of times those are vendors and those
Yes.
get
Oh my God.
immediately into the delete pile. And they do try
Bye.
to leverage the Trojan network. I get a lot of folks saying, "Hey, if the Trojans win on Saturday, will you take a meeting with me?" It's like the
That's actually
vendors do
really
get
good.
very creative. Yeah, or they offer to send me some free SC swag if I talk to them. I do pay attention, but I generally don't don't proceed with those. But just be really thoughtful about your subject line. Be creative. Be authentic. And I will tell you, I mean, Pilar, exactly what you said. I get a lot of folks who reach out and say, "Hey, I'd love to hear about your career journey." That is that could be a long conversation and I'm thinking, how can I be helpful to you? So
Yeah.
maybe if it's you reach out and say, look, I've been stuck at this level and I'm really trying to figure out what skills I need to develop that would bring me to a director level position. Even something with just that level of specificity makes a difference versus kind of a broad question or following up and asking a question that has been addressed in a recent conversation or presentation, like a follow-up to this, asking, how can you offer me some networking tips? Like, well, were you on the call? And hopefully I provided a few here. So yeah, it's just be thoughtful as you would in any other correspondence with folks.
And I want to add to that, don't be afraid to get vulnerable with your asks. I found that I can be more of a resource and more helpful to somebody if we're talking about real shit. So if you are, and apologies for swearing, but like also not really, because this is how I talk all the time. If you're like, hey, I'm a Black woman in corporate and this is what I'm experiencing, can I talk to you about it? Oh my God, I want to open up my heart to you. I want to talk to you forever. If you are like, I just found out I'm getting paid less than my counterparts. What do I need to do to change the situation? Oh my God, I want to open up to you. I want to help. But I can't help if like you've got this mask on and you're not comfortable like opening with something real, then there's kind of nowhere for us to go. So I'd much rather you like come with intention, but also know it is okay to be vulnerable. Some alum are really going to respond to that. I am definitely one of them. And some are like, ooh, I can't do that. And that's okay. That person is not for you to talk to anyway. Go to somebody who's open to having those types of conversations if those are the conversations that you want to have. But I highly, highly recommend getting vulnerable because that's when real connections are formed. And that's when 2 years from now, you can hit me up and we can talk about something else. Or I know I could go back to you with like, hey, I thought that this might be helpful. But it's really like, opening yourself up to sharing, and then you can receive a lot more, like when you're open.
Beautifully.
I agree. I mean, Heather, to your point, subject line is so important. My inbox gets flooded all the time, but those ones that pique my interest, those bubble to the top every time. Those are the
Mhm.
ones I open up quickly. It's a quick scan and I see it. And then, Pilar, for you, I mean, it goes back to I remember you shared what seeing me in the media. There was a student who just was your mentor, was your mentee, and called you because they were going into an interview and they did not know what to wear, like how to show up.
Mhm.
So be personal, be vulnerable, share it because other people have gone down that same path and they have that experience that they can share with you. Focus on.
Absolutely. And if I can't find, if I'm not the person for you to talk to, or if I know that there's somebody else who has done this bigger, better, faster, smarter, stronger, whatever than I have, I will happily give you that one-to-one intro connection that Heather mentioned. Like, hey, here's this awesome student, or here's this awesome like recent grad, or just this awesome alum, and I know that you'd be the best person to talk to about this. Do you mind taking this call? They'll be like, yes, Pilar, anything you want, because we've got that shared connection already.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mhm.
So, how do you stay motivated to continue networking even when you don't have a specific goal in need? You want to start, P?
Sure. Like I said, I've been doing this, but let's see, I graduated in '02. It's 2026. So I went into communications because I'm terrible at math. But what is that, like 24 years? I've been doing this for almost a quarter of a century. Dramatic pause. Wow. And I think at this point, it's curiosity that's keeping me motivated. I always want to keep learning about people and about what they do, but also about their hobbies and their interests outside of work. Just like I think we often get into our bubbles, and for me, my bubble would just be like advertising and marketing and PR and entertainment, like all day, every day. And it might sound glamorous, but it gets fucking boring. So when I get to, talk to Heather about like security communications and the tech world, that's awesome. When I get to talk to Desiree about what's going on in the alumni relations office, that's awesome. Just curiosity about like things that are outside of my purview and that I've never experienced before. That's what keeps me motivated to continue networking. Even when I do want to hide in the bathroom, I like meeting people too much and learning about like what gets them up in the morning, or what they're angry at, or how they feel about the state of the country, or whether or not they liked Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl. I want to soak up all of that information because honestly, it motivates me and gives me energy. That's me. What about you, Heather?
I agree completely. I love learning about other people. I think what's interesting is that for so many of us, and I had this view for a very long time, I associated with networking with I need a job,
Mm.
networking with I'm looking to change jobs. And I think we have to sort of redefine what networking really is. And it has different phases and stages throughout your career. But for me, networking is about community and connection. And I'll just share a little anecdote.
Please.
I posted an article on LinkedIn, not an article, just a little post over the weekend about something that I had been reflecting on for a while. And it was on basically the fact that when I first had kids, my daughter's about ready to graduate from high school, and I have a son in middle school. And I had this view of how I would show up as a mom, that I would be, baking the cookies and I'd be the room mom and I'd be volunteering. And it didn't play out that way. And in fact, my husband was the room dad. And we had got really creative around how we supported our kids, but it didn't look exactly the way I thought it would. And so I just wanted to share that out on LinkedIn just to assure folks that, you
Mhm.
know, that parenting and careers have seasons. And it was interesting because my son's school had reached out about a week ago and they said, hey, we're looking for parents to volunteer to be sort of career hosts. And these juniors and seniors would get to shadow these individuals. And it was really the most awesome feeling in the world to raise my hand and say, count me in, and then to tell my son. And I was at first a little worried he'd be like, oh, embarrassed, but he was like, Mom, that is so cool. And just to share an experience like that on LinkedIn and then see my community engage and
Yeah.
respond, create this level of connection that is really what the network is all about. And yes, maybe one day I'll be able to open the door for opportunity for some of the folks who engage there, or there'll be an opportunity for me too. But having something that's bigger than just that next job, I think is really, really powerful and what networking is really all about.
Completely agree. I'm sorry, what was the question? I was just like so caught up in in your response that I forgot what the question was. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
After that question, and we're going to go on to the next question.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a question. Okay, good. I'm locked in.
It
Let's
was
keep
just me
going.
rambling.
Let's do this.
Sorry.
No, it was
I just
interesting.
took it in a whole different direction. Sorry.
Well, no, actually, no, I want to add to that, Heather, because I think there was one question that we had, which was like, when is the right time to ask for like help or for a chat?
Mm,
And you were like, you should just be creating community all the time. It's not just about like when you need a job. And I think to add to that, the key to building a strong network of folks is that you've already built connections with them so that you can rely on them. You can call them for a job or an introduction when you really do need it because you've got all this organic conversations you've already had. You've already like established a relationship so that they know that you're not just coming to them transactionally.
Right.
It's actually like there's been like this symbiotic relationship and like I'm giving to you and you're giving to me because we've chatted about. I know I've mentioned Bad Bunny a lot, but he's on my mind. But like you chatted about the Super Bowl or you chatted about hot sauce or Heather, somebody reached out to you with like, let's talk about Bon Jovi. And like you've had these little like fits and starts of conversations that actually like make a thing. So then when you need to make a withdrawal from like that bank that you kind of made social deposits into, it's a lot easier to ask those questions because you're not just coming in cold with like, give me something. Like, I don't know you. Why would I give you something right away? But if we've had those conversations before, or you're introduced through one of my contacts, then like it's much easier to make those asks and be less nervous about them because you've already got an established connection.
absolutely.
And organic conversations are important, very
Mm.
important. Thank you both. Um, can you share a Trojan connection story that led to something meaningful? Heather?
I have to say, it is all of the extraordinary Trojans that I've been able to hire over the years. Um, I I have just met the most incredible humans along this journey, and what's so awesome about the Trojans that I've had the pleasure of working with, we've stayed in touch, far beyond the role that that individual was in, and I think some of those relationships are just, I mean, they're just so incredibly meaningful. And it's just the greatest joy of my career to be able to see that connection spark something, incredible and see folks, soar in their careers and get to be part of that journey.
And I want to say that I too am proud to say that I've hired so many Trojans at POV. Um, like you, Heather, and I know I'm like kind of saying the same thing, but it feels really good to know that like we've got this shared history and a shared community, and you've already been vetted. Like, if you're a Trojan, I know that you have been through some shit because it is a hard school. That's why it is so hard to get into. But the fact that you've gotten into the school, you're graduating from the school, or you're still actively pursuing your degree there means that, like, I know that you can handle whatever I throw at you. I'm also more apt to refer you to somebody else if you are on the job hunt. So hiring people and like being able to pour back into my community feels very, very meaningful. But I want to go like a little bit sappy and say that the most meaningful Trojan connection that I've made has actually been my business partner, Michael Chavez Booth. We did not go to USC at the same time, but he got his master's in PR at Annenberg. And then he went on to be an adjunct professor at Annenberg. And we ended up working at the same place. And now he is my husband, and we run our company together. So I think that that is also very meaningful. Not to say that I wouldn't have married him if he wasn't a Trojan, but it helps, you know.
Okay, how can anyone compete with that story? That's
It's
like,
not a competition,
that's a
Heather.
mic drop.
It's not a
It's
There's
so
competition.
nothing.
good. I did meet my husband through the American Marketing Association, so
There
there's the
you go.
networking
There you
connections
go.
there.
Yes,
He's not a Trojan, but or by marriage he is.
by marriage, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Amazing. So networking is important.
Yes. You might
Yeah.
find a husband or a wife or a partner or whatever you're into.
Different levels of relationships for sure.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
What's your number one piece of advice for making the most of the alumni network? Pilar.
Get involved. I mean, you're here right now, so you're already like doing it, but like there's no better way to say it. Attend events, sign up to mentor, sign up to volunteer, stay connected to the Alumni Relations Office, be a resource to others. This will naturally open you up to connections and conversations you might not otherwise have had. And before you say to yourself, oh, I don't have anything to offer, like I'm still in school, or I'm a recent grad and I haven't gone through my career yet, or I'm later in my career, now I want to pivot and now I'm starting at the bottom. Throw all of that away because where you are at in your life, you have already gone through something that somebody else is just about to enter into. So you always have something to offer. You always have something to bring to the table, and you are of value and can provide things of value, even if you're not like the CEO of the whole world. Like there's still something that you can share that somebody else is like going into eyes wide open, super nervous. You can help them along their career progress or their personal progress as a person, just by showing up. So show the fuck up, get involved. That's it. And you're already doing it right now because you're here.
That's like 80% of the challenge is just showing up. It's really, I
Mhm.
mean, that's huge.
Yeah, just be there.
Heather, you
Yeah,
want to add?
sure. I would say that Pilar, much like you said, get involved. Just a slightly different twist on that would be to be of service. I think there's something just incredibly powerful about the Trojan family, this service mindset, wanting to be of service to others is consistent with every Trojan that I meet. So I would encourage you to, whether it's if it's for sure, get involved with your alumni network attached to your school. And we never say no to volunteers. There's
Never.
plenty of opportunity, as Desiree will attest to. But I also encourage you to look into your community. And this, I think, is one of my favorite tricks for building career experience in areas that you might not have had the opportunity to within the walls of your organization, or even if you're unemployed or underemployed, find an organization that you care about. Could be the Humane Society, it could be the Downtown Women's Center or the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles, two organizations I love dearly, and look at their committee structure. Every board has a committee. So you could join the finance committee, the audit committee, you could join the marketing and communications committee, the gala committee, and every nonprofit needs help at the committee level. It might be a little bit harder to earn a board seat, but find out who those committee leads are. You can generally find that on the website and just volunteer to help out. I guarantee you the response will be absolutely. What skills can you bring to this committee? And it's a wonderful way to meet people who share a common interest. And I'm telling you, you will find Trojans there. So it's sort of like a two for one, connecting with your Trojan community and also, really joining together with people who share a common passion, a common love, a common desire to make a difference in the communities that we have the pleasure of living and working in. So that would be my tip. And also, of course, like buy a pin and wear a pin. That's the big one. So
Identify you quickly.
exactly. It's the truth right there.
Or a license plate holder. That's
Yes.
my
And I do
contribution.
have that.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
So you guys have been a plethora of information and we've had a lot. And so we are going into this lightning round, lightning fast, so we can allow for some time for Q&A. So I'll ask you quickly, share practical takeaways for the most effective job hunt networking and evergreen networking. Heather.
Sure. Redefine your definition of networking. So think of it more as community building, and where there will be seasons where you will be looking for a job, but there will be seasons where you're building your community and relationships. Um, be specific about your outreach. Make sure that you are reaching out with intention and being respectful of the time commitments on both sides. Um, Lead with the value that you bring. So think about what you can bring to the table too. We talked about an insight that you read, something that might be additive to a conversation that you've seen this individual post, on LinkedIn, for example. And also be sure to follow up. I think that is a piece where someone might jump in and help you out, and then crickets. Keep us informed. Did you get the
Girl,
job?
you
Did
are
it
so
land?
right. You're,
right? I mean,
yes,
it's really
yes.
interesting how in that moment there's this connection and appreciation, and then once the job is there, it's like, well, how did the story end? I'd love to. And then reach out to me in 6 months. How's it going? What are you learning? What can you share? So don't think of it as sort of a one and done. It's a lifelong commitment. And that was not lightning speed, Desiree. So sorry about that, Pilar. I'll
Stuff
hand it
though, it's
over
good
to you.
stuff.
Good, good.
Okay, I'll try to be fast, but I can't make any promises. First one, be yourself and bring authenticity and all of your lived experiences to each and every interaction that you have. Instead of acting like who you think folks want you to act like. I want to say personally, and I'm being vulnerable, so I'm like actually modeling what I've been talking about. I feel like my career didn't truly blossom until I was actually myself and started my own company and I left corporate.
Mhm.
That is when, clients started rolling in, revenue started rolling in. I was able to you know, make more money than I ever had in my corporate career. And I was making six figures. I was doing all right. I wasn't like at the bottom of the barrel. But it was once I was like, you know what? I'm going to own the fact that I am a 6 foot tall, dark skinned Black woman who likes Lego, who went to USC, who does whoop de whoop de whoop. And this is how I fucking talk. And this is how I talk to my fucking clients. And this is how I talk to my team. I mean, with like love and respect and compassion. But when I became myself, that is when my life opened up. So be yourself at all times. Number two, don't be transactionally driven. And this goes to Heather's point about building community. If you're building actual community with people and it's tangible, when you ask me for something, I'm not going to be put off by it. But if you always just come to me with your hand out, I'm going to be less likely to open your emails. I'm going to be less likely to open your LinkedIn messages because I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's just asking me for something again. And then doesn't even tell me what happens after I do the thing. To Heather's point, again, like we'd love to know what's going on. So like just don't be transactionally driven. People can see right through that. And then my third thing is look imposter syndrome in the face and say, not today, Satan. And I want to say that because you're not an imposter. You are part of the Trojan family. That automatically comes with a built-in credibility and cachet. And on top of that, you are the only you. And remember, it's not your job or responsibility to make everyone like you or prioritize the things that you have going on. All you can do is show up as the best version of yourself and let the universe or God or whatever you believe in, power, whatever you believe in to like orchestrate things in your favor. But like, there's nothing to fake. There's stuff that you need to learn. There's stuff that we all need to learn. Hopefully, everyone continues to like learn and absorb. But like, you're not an imposter. So like, go ahead and send that email or walk up to somebody and shake their hand and start a conversation. Just do it.
So
That's the
good.
best things.
I agree. I
I
agree
need to
100%.
play that every morning. Every morning. We all need to hear that. That's so good.
Not today, Satan.
So good.
I could say I know both of these women. They're amazing. This isn't canned. These are their personalities. They walk in the room just like this. And because they are who they are, their authentic selves, people come networking to them. So thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. We're going to open this up for Q&A with the time that we have remaining. If you guys are open to that, I just want to remind anybody who's going off mic, please start your question with your name, your year, and your area of study. And then anyone who is not going off mic, drop some questions in the chat. We'll answer those as well, as long as we can get to them. And use the raise hand feature as well. So let's get started. First question.
Are we allowed to go?
Oh, I see a raised hand. I see Roxana's hand, but I can only see a few of these at a time.
I
What's
think
the
I saw
best way?
Roxana's hand first. You want to go with Roxana first?
Sure.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
so much for taking the time to, discuss all your experience and everything about networking. I really appreciate it. So my name's Roxana. I did my master's in public health and also my undergraduate studies in health promotion at USC. I graduated, finish my master's in 2024. So fairly recent grad. And I was just curious what you had to say about maybe initiating relationships with new people in a way that doesn't come off transactional. I think it's sometimes hard to, even if it's wanting to hear about someone's story or their path, and then maintaining that following. I think it's sometimes hard to initiate that without it seeming as an inconvenience for the other person, especially. And I know you mentioned, you can do that even early in your career, but if you had any more insight on that, it would be great. Thank you.
You want to go first, Heather?
Sure, sure. I think it's a great question, and it is intimidating. I think you'd be surprised though how many people are willing to say yes, because a lot of people can't get past that first step of actually making the ask. So I would say, just kind of in line with what we talked about a little bit, come up with an opportunity to add value to the conversation, or yeah, come up with a specific question where we can offer value and help you get unstuck with a particular challenge that you're facing. Or maybe even share an interesting article and ask for perspective on that. Is that how you see things? Just creating something that's a bit more tangible versus sort of a general outreach, I think tends to be the most helpful way to do that.
And I'll add to that a little bit. And this is only if you feel comfortable doing it. But I think also like leaning into your nervousness or your apprehension and sharing that with a person that you're reaching out to. Like, hi, I'm a new X and I'm super nervous, but like I wanted to still reach out to you. Do you think we could chat about and then insert like intentional question here? I think if you just own that with the person that you're talking to, they're going to relate to that. They know what it's like to be nervous to ask somebody a question or be nervous to pick up a phone or send someone a text. So I think like you can connect on like there's the USC level, but then there's the human level as well, which is like, hey man, I'm freaked the fuck out, but I mean, don't say that. But like I'm freaked out, but I still wanted to talk to you. Do you have some time for X? I think just owning it is really powerful.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think I saw Rand's hand next.
Hi, my name is Brianne, and I'm a master's in digital media management from Annenberg 2025 graduate. I'm coming from the greater Metro Portland area here in Oregon. And this might sound a little tangential from networking, but I think it's related. I've been really interested in trying to find a mentor in my career, and I was wondering if you had any advice, like through networking, how to find a mentor, a good fit, someone, not necessarily just looking for a job like you guys have mentioned, but just someone that's going to help you grow, be your cheerleader, support system, someone you can really just learn from and have that kind of back and forth partnership relationship.
I am so glad you asked that because I'm actually going through exactly this right now. I am also looking for a mentor. And I'm going to give you like the wrong way to do it and then the way that I'm doing it now. The wrong way to do it, like I came in contact with this woman whose career I'd been following for a really long time. I ended up signing her as a client and we had our first face-to-face meeting. And I think I led with like, will you be my mentor? And she never really answered, but as I got to know her a little bit more through our client and agency relationship, I realized I did not want this woman anywhere near my career. I did not want her to be my mentor. So because I had kind of like put this person up on a pedestal without like really getting under the hood with them, I I went in the wrong direction. And so now in my mentorship journey, I've written down a list of people, both inside and outside of my industry. So like 5 people in PR and marketing and 5 people outside of it. And I'm actually trying to like develop stronger relationships with them. And then I'm going to ask once I feel like this person is aligned with like who I want to become and how I want to evolve my career, but also personally as well, because I feel like with mentorships, it's not just like career stuff, it's also personal as well because they're so intertwined. So I think like leaning into getting to know who you might be considering a little bit more to make sure that they fit in with like your goals and mission and values and like your North Star, and then making that ask once that conversation's a little bit deeper, it's much easier to get the response that you're looking for. So like basically I'm like interview people, without letting them know that you're interviewing them.
And Pilar, one tool maybe that would be helpful for you, Rayanne, is I heard years ago a speaker talk about a personal board of directors. I would encourage you to just search this. It's really in the same way that companies form board of directors, that when Pilar spoke about like making a list of people, think about that table and who you would want sitting around it. And I've actually had people ask me if I would serve on their personal board of directors. And I find it to be the most incredible honor. And it's a way where I mean, how can you say no to that? It's just
Right?
it kind of gives you a tool to be able to have that sort of conversation. It might sound a little silly, but it's in the same way that companies do it. We're the most valuable brand on the planet. So why not have our own board? So just something to dig into a little bit more if you have time.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that,
that's
Heather.
really cool. Thank you both.
Thank
Love it.
you. I don't want to leave out our chat folks, and we are almost at time. So do you want to take a question from chat?
Sure.
Do you see
You
one,
want me to
Desiree?
pull one? Oh, okay.
Hold on. I
Um,
cannot see the chat. Second, please.
There's so many notes in here.
I know.
I know. I'm just scrolling. There's notes. You guys are having great conversations amongst each other and networking, which we encourage. We're just trying to get to the questions.
Maybe while we search one, if we want to take,
Okay,
I
let's
saw
take it online. Next was Ashley Hernandez.
Hi, thank you so much for this great information. I am class 2011 from Annenberg. I am an Emmy Award-winning journalist. And as I look for my new role, I have been realizing that when I first started out of USC, I also have my MBA. So getting out of USC, pivoting, beginning, the alumni from older generations were definitely like, you're USC, I'm going to get you a job. And they have actually told me, like, you have a job here guaranteed because you are an alum and we're going to support your career path, which was amazing. But now I'm noticing that when I'm trying to find new roles and I reach out to people on LinkedIn who are of younger generations, they're not as responsive. They don't have, I feel like, that Trojan pride. So is there anything that you guys suggest to reach out to maybe people who are more recently, connected that maybe aren't as high up in the company, but might have a way to get you in behind past the ATS? Of how to connect with them. Because obviously, we all go through the whole LinkedIn process of seeing who is in your network, seeing if there's a second or third connection. We want to go for those, but sometimes it's just a cold outreach, and I just see they went to USC. So, what do you suggest I do in that case?
that's a tough question.
yeah.
I'm thinking that finding a shared interest might be the way to go at it because maybe they feel like they're not in a position necessarily to offer a job and the job environment's crazy right now. So maybe finding a way to connect with them that ultimately might lead to them introducing you to their network. That's sort of where my mind went, but I think it might just be so many people right now aren't in a position to be able to create that sort of direct job opportunity and maybe there's some apprehension there. Um,
And are you looking
Sure.
specifically for job opportunities? Or are you just looking to talk to them about the industry that they're in because you want to pivot?
It would be a mix of both, right? So I'll say like, oh, there's an opening. Like, what is the environment like there? Is this something that I'd really want to get into, something I want to pivot it to, informational? And sometimes like, oh, this is actually an interesting role. I'd be great for this. Maybe you know someone who knows someone type of thing. And
Right.
all of it is just kind of like open if you're open to it, nothing very pressured. But I just feel like I guess what you suggested is that they feel like they're just low on the totem pole,
Yeah.
but they don't see how much influence they may have, which is also understandable. But I guess I'll just take your advice from earlier, use some hot sauce, like find some way to
Yeah.
connect. And I
Yeah.
guess I'll do that.
Yeah.
Hashtag hot sauce. I think we need to remember that.
I got to tell Zach that I was talking about him today because I mean it works. He's in my brain.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was a tough one,
Thank
Heather.
you to the USCAA team on here. They have been answering some of these questions in chat, so I appreciate the support in that manner. It is 101. And so we have some more hands raised. I think we've just left you with a lot of information. We shared a lot of information with you, and we appreciate you coming to this event. Is there anything that you two want to say in closing?
Desiree, I would just say that what a perfect opportunity for you to follow up with us if you didn't get your
Yes.
question asked. Would love to hear from all of you. We really we're doing this because we care about this community. We want to lift each other up. It takes a village, and if I'm not in a position to do it, hopefully there's someone I know that I can connect you with. So just know, like, that is far and above. The coolest thing about USC is that we really are part of this Trojan family that fights on forever. So really nurture it and take advantage of it. And it's just been an honor to connect with everybody here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather. You said everything that I would say, but thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking questions. Thank you for being engaged. Please follow up. My DMs are always open, and I may not get back to you right away because I am running a company, but like that doesn't mean that I'm not going to get back to you because this brings me joy. I love doing things like this because it lights me up. So if I can continue to do this and like give you some time and we have office hours or I point you in the direction of somebody, please let me because it makes me feel good. And I like feeling good.
And I'd just like to say, you know, as the director of alumni relations, I would love to connect with all of you. So please
Desiree's the
feel
best.
free to reach out to me. I mean, I can't reach all, 28,000 Annenberg alum. I am trying to, but please feel free to reach out to me so we can connect. I appreciate every connection. And thank you again to both Heather and Pilar for doing this event and sharing so much wisdom with us. Great takeaways. And I want to end with saying, fight on. And don't forget, the Trojan family isn't just a saying, it's your secret weapon.